Hello and welcome back to Exeter City. I do need to start with an apology. You're not getting the European knockout stages. I'm bringing you back a lot earlier because an opportunity arose that suited the schedule a lot better. I'll get you caught up. We are in fact rejoining at the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-finals. There is a Wolves game that immediately follows it. We're just going to gloss over that, and I'm also going to bring you the FA Cup third round replay because obviously what we needed was more games against Leeds. But since we last met, which was actually against Arsenal in the league, a little irritating that we got them in the Carabao Cup semi-finals, but it kind of allows us to gauge what difference a month makes in football because we lost to them 2-1 there. First leg, we beat them 4-2. I mean, 2-1 loss still sees us through, so we'll see. But we did have to get past Sheffield United 4-0 in the quarterfinals there. And then league-wise, 5 games in a row, 2-2 away at Man United, not terrible. We did play a more defensive formation for that one. 2-2, we'll take a point. They did win the title last year, I think, so we'll take that point. 1-0, a surprisingly boring game in the grand scheme of things for this formation and this season. We did get a 1-0 against Brighton earlier on, but I do believe that might have been Enrique Avalos' first clean sheet. He did get a second shortly after, but we did lose 2-1 to Brentford because, of course, why wouldn't we? And then immediately followed up, naturally, with a 7-0 victory against Crystal Palace, a Crystal Palace that we beat 6-2 earlier in the season. Crystal Palace must absolutely hate us. Yeah, that game happened on Boxing Day, but I suspect I may no longer be on their Christmas card list. Just the 13 goals scored against them. But the good news for Crystal Palace is that Aston Villa get to commiserate with them as they also shipped 7 goals. They did score twice though, so better showing on that front. And they actually were leading 2-1 at one stage before it dramatically collapsed for them. Abermansley drags in own goal, 2 Prieto goals and 2 Pereira goals, making that 7-2. Then 4-2 against Arsenal. Carlos Eduardo with a hat-trick. I did effectively fully rotate against Leeds, and that has cost us in the end. I'm almost a little bit annoyed that Pereira equalised. I'd rather lose, frankly, than deal with a replay. Still not had the draw. I don't know when the draw for the knockouts happens. I imagine it's towards the end of the month. It might even be after deadline day. But all things considered, we are now second in the league. Everyone's played 21 games, which is handy. Arsenal have a 7-point advantage. They are indeed back. No European commitments. They're fully back. Chelsea, Newcastle and Wolves all not doing particularly well, which is interesting. Wolves, of course, who were third very much on merit last year. Newcastle, who got 5th, I think, behind us last year. And Chelsea the biggest surprise of all because they don't have European football. So don't know what's going on there. And then the 2 teams that we put 7 goals past are 11th and 12th ahead of them. Bournemouth has still only won 1 game this season. It was against Manchester City, because of course it was. But Carlos Eduardo leads both the average rating and the goals scored. Assist-wise, Prieto is joint second, which makes him also on the average ratings in third. But Szymanski's first. Szymanski now in 15 league starts. 2 of those appearances are substitute appearances, but in 15 league starts, 5 goals, 9 assists. I hope he was priced well in fantasy football because he's going to be getting points. Meanwhile, by the way, in the other fixture here, Everton do take a 2-1 lead to Anfield. One thing I have noticed recently, by the way, I have no explanation for the lack of tactical familiarity. It's not like we've played this formation for a year and a half now, with Prieto playing that pressing forward for that year and a half, or that Carlos Eduardo playing that attacking forward for a year and a half, or indeed the fullbacks. Please explain to me how Ampadu and the goalkeeper are the only 2 people with full tactical familiarity. I should say the only thing that holds them back is the precision/role/duty. Dennis Castillo and Thierry Small, for some reason, don't have position, role, duty in their positions of wing-back, which is the only role they've ever been in. Except for that brief period where I think Castillo was involved in inverted wing-back testing. But other than that, they have never been anything other than wing-back. There's been a bit of shift around with Markovic, Hesham, midfield roles and all that, but I still don't think that would do anything. Markovic, by the way, does have full familiarity as a centre midfielder attack. In the alternate formations, where Hesham does take on that role automatically, does have full familiarity in that. But make him an advanced playmaker? No idea. Even though that is actually a more preferred role for him. Sports Interactive, fix this kind of nonsense. You've got a great game here, but there's just fundamental things that are broken. and that's obviously one of them. Tiberio is fit again, actually, I've just noticed that. But the good news is we get to go into this with our full first team, except for Tiberio. Actually, both midfielders are on yellow cards warnings. Will they miss a final, or will they just carry over? Is this one of those competitions that carries over? It's bracketed Carabao Cup. I mean, we have to risk the midfielders to get to the final. So Avalos in goal, Martin, Morato, Ampadu, Castillo, Hesham, Markovic, Szymanski, Uribe, Carlos Eduardo, and Prieto. Actually, because Uribe is right-footed, Martin Saunders. I said full first team, Ciro Fernandez is injured. I do not know why we play in our third kit more than we play in our away kit. So yes, this is likely to be a bit of a bumper episode, but because I'm not going to see you for a couple of weeks here at Exeter, as the F1 manager stuff will come in, I think that's a fair trade-off. Because what happens here, of course, is we have this episode now on the Monday. F1 will be coming to you later in the week and will remain on the channel for the next 2 weeks. I am aiming for daily uploads with F1 Manager. Then, of course, when I'm away on holiday, Exeter will come back in as a pre-recorded pair on the regular Monday and Thursday of that week. That will be Monday the 12th of September, if I've got my dates right, and the 15th of September will be the return of Exeter, with, of course, those European knockout matches, which is why this Carabao Cup second leg here was a perfect arrival. And now I've got to risk Tiberio. Damn it, game! Because it allowed me to have a perfect hopping off point and then still give you a perfect double-hander to pre-record for the return. So don't hate me for not bringing you the Champions League knockouts now. It makes a lot of sense to do that as the 2 episodes when he returns in a couple of weeks. Not a lot's gone on in this game. There's Sergio Gomez, Odegaard now. Back to Sergio Gomez, and of course, as soon as I say that, they're probably going to score. No, Martinelli misses. 0-0's fine by us, by the way. Of course, we do take a 2-goal lead. It's been a bit of a non-game, really, all things considered. Neither team putting in a lot of XG in the first half. I will follow that praising team talk with a bit of faith just to stave off complacency, hopefully. Tomiyasu forward to Saka, Odegaard. Martinelli, it is alarming how much of this Arsenal team is still the Arsenal team. I think that bodes well for the real world, Arsenal, quite frankly. They've started well in real life. They'll have another game under their belt by the time this episode goes live. I have no idea how they're going to fare in their third game of the season. But, okay. I was about to make those substitutions in midfield. I'm actually going to take Hesham off now for Segovia, just because he's tired, not because he's in danger of missing the final. The ball goes in, and it is indeed Hesham to score with his first goal of the season, unbelievably. In this sort of free-scoring team, particularly of late, Hesham is yet to get on the score sheet in any game of the season so far. Now, I find that remarkable. Ramsdale's flapped to that. I find that remarkable. And now he's coming off. And now Markovic comes off as well for, well, it has to be Angelo, doesn't it? And because of the injury, that's it for substitutions. Tomiyasu with a throw-in. Serginho, Dest, Martinelli, Smith Rowe, 1-1. Szymanski's picked up a knock. That's a bruised ankle, because if it's just a bruised ankle, he can play through that. Good lord. Martinelli, Smith Rowe, easy as you like. Defenders don't jump or mark. So it's gone well there. Clearly onside. Why are we seeing that? I mean, he has phased through the defender there. That's not even skill move territory. So Dr. Benji's request for skill moves is not going to solve that one. I'm not quite sure how he's phased through the defender in that situation. He just walked through him without the ball. I would love to know what the actual in-game decision was there behind that animation. Or lack thereof. Well, he's gone to pick the ball up there, has Smith Rowe, so I think this is counting. We're going to lose 2-1 again. It's 5-4 in aggregate. I don't know what to shout. I think I have to shout praise to get a good response. Stop showing the highlights. He's clearly onside. He's behind the ball is what he is, which I can't really blame the defenders for in that situation. They are told to play the offside, so obviously they were playing the offside in their own respect. Arsenal really accelerated in that second half, didn't they? Blimey, they ended up with 2.53. I mean, they scored the 2 biggest chances they had, so congratulations, you're in the Carabao Cup final. Maybe we can win this one. Everton the opponent. Yeah, Everton, one of our 2 nemeses in this series. That's not as pleasant as it looks. We did triumph, though, in the league, so, excellent. And a bruised ankle, 1 to 3 days. The draw for the Champions League's been made. Levante versus Inter. Some massive draws there, though. City, PSG, Bayern, Man United, Real Madrid, Dortmund, Spurs and Barcelona. 4 good teams are going to get gone here. Just search for draw. Nothing here. Well, I said I'd glossed over the Wolves game. I might as well bring you the goals. They've scored first, and I don't enjoy this at all. The ball should have been won here, because that's a fantastic sliding challenge. Just go straight back to them, and the defender behind Jonas Wind, which is not the best place to be. It's 2-0 easy as they like, really. Almost a carbon copy of the first goal. The fact that their man just gets in front of the defender and nobody can be asked. It's shocking defending. And all of a sudden, it's 3. Again, easy as you like. Fornals loses Tiberio, who's absolutely dead on his feet. I don't really know why. I suppose he did play most of last game, along with this one, but still. Cherry Small, back post Uribe, misses. Cool. That's the way it's gone today. Anything that's remotely looked like a chance for us just vanishes. The nemesis returns. So for the replay against Leeds, there is a minor dilemma in the fact that AFCON is happening and Hesham is missing, along with Baba Mansley, who, whilst not a starter, is a useful player to have on the bench whilst everyone is knackered. But Cup game, still giving the nod to Sanchez in those. He had a bid by Barcelona. You may notice it actually on one of the previous pages. He had a bid by Barcelona. He's agreed to a 42 million sale if that comes in. They've not met that yet, so but I'm not against Sanchez leaving. I can always replace him. It's not too much of an issue with a sort of more clear-cut backup. But right now, I'm going to utilise the fact we've got 2 good goalkeepers. Sanchez, Martin, Muratu, Ampadu, Tiberio. Backline remains the same, even though Tiberio is A, tired, and B, apparently returning to fitness. Segovia and Markovic in the middle. Szymanski, Uribe, Eduardo, and Pereira. Eduardo on a heavy workload, apparently, but all of them seem to be okay on the conditioning, at least. It's only Tiberio and Ampadu that I worry about on that front. I was warned about jadedness with Ampadu about a month and a half ago, so I'm slightly concerned that's going to resurface after this game. We are at home with a stronger side than we put out last time. Fingers crossed, this is the result that should be expected of us at this stage. That's an interesting chance, if I can call it that. Segovia charging forward on the left-hand side. Gets to the byline, pops it in, Carlos Eduardo over the top. It's starting to feel like one of those periods. Experienced Football Manager players will understand what I'm talking about when I say that. It just feels like one of those periods where nothing goes right. Ampadu, Muratu, Segovia. Like, I've had my fun. I've had the 2 7-goal wins. Although Uribe, that's a good finish. Didn't even look like he was looking at the goal when he smacked that in. I'll watch this again because it genuinely looks like he side-foots that with such force. He looks after hitting it. Might just be an animation thing, but he does kick the ball and then look where he's kicked it. No highlights until now. It's been sat on the stats page for the entire time in between, and the entire time in between has had the poor performer as Markovic with a 55% pass completion, which implies he's not even attempted a pass in the last 20 minutes, because that ratio has not changed at all. Tiberio, Ampadu, Uribe, and a 55 pass completion implies that he's had a multiple of 20. Ampadu, Tiberio. I mean, if Eduardo's onside here, this is great. I mean, the highlights continue to a point where I must presume Eduardo was onside, and therefore, this counts. And Szymanski with another goal. The assist is Uribe, so that's goal and assist for Uribe. It's great thinking by Uribe, just sort of slows that ridiculous pass from Eduardo down for it to land on a absolute plate for Szymanski. I mean, clearly onside at that point. It was Eduardo before that I was concerned was offside. I was going to say something, but I'm not going to jinx it until the end of the game, and we're on a January window. Well, Stuart Smith is going to play the wrong side again. We'll just flick Markovic to Mazzala rather than box to box and allow Smith to work inverted on his preferred left foot. That'll sort of work out the same. Although at the same time, Markovic needs to come off relatively quickly, so that's all 3 substitutions actually already made. Marty and Angelo on in the midfield. Szymanski's just going to have to tough it out, unfortunately, along with Ampadu. Well, those midfielders are my main concern at this point. With Hesham and Mansley away, we are short stock, so we need to make sure our best ones are as fit as possible going forward. Szymanski to put this ball in. Muratu, interesting ball back in. Ampadu, well controlled actually. And Smith, he scored 2 goals this season. I showed you them both, and that's very much in the same vein if that had gone in. Pereira. I just realised Leeds have both Liam Delap and Tommy Doyle. I believe they also had Lavia, but he was running out of contract and has just agreed to go to Spain somewhere at the end of the season. But it does seem that Leeds are the, well, if Man City doesn't work out for you, come on over, club that Southampton have seemed to become in real life. In fact, there we are. Lavia's on the pitch and he's been booked. 2-0 though. 3 weeks for Tiberio, which means they'll probably get back roughly the same time. That's helpful. In fact, Markovic has now reached the yellow card limit and is out for the next game anyway, so midfielders, help. Still can't cross, but do I recall Nasri? That's the question. By the way, I keep getting questions about Jared Randall. He has developed this year. He is good. If I lose a defender in this window, I'm recalling him. I've also broken League One with Benavidez. Preston relegated, but they are... Well, they're 9 points clear with a game in hand, and Benavidez has scored 15 in the league. His strike partner has scored 16, so, yeah, apologies to League One. Oh, Lincoln about to go down again. Why? Weymouth is surviving, currently. But I've already talked about where the next episodes are going to be. It's going to be the individual first round knockout legs of the Champions League. Obviously, the first one with the Carabao Cup final. And obviously, the second one with Chelsea proceeding makes the most sense there. Just the one game in between those, which is appropriately Arsenal, which you've seen more than enough of at this point. Fed up of Arsenal now. Anyway, but thank you for joining me. And I suppose if you're only interested in Football Manager, I should just say goodbye for now. But if you are interested in the F1 Manager or just interested in keeping up with my content full stop, then I'll see you very soon for F1 Manager. It will start on Twitch, and then the GPs will move on to YouTube a day later, effectively. And there'll be a couple of streams where I'll be recording 2 GPs at a time. So the streams will get a little bit further ahead than just one day, just because I need to record ahead for my time off. But as I say, I'll be streaming them and recording during the stream. So if you miss the streams, you won't be missing out. They will appear on YouTube either way. But if you're not interested in F1 at all, then apologies, but I will see you in a couple of weeks regardless. Exeter is not over. Football Manager is not gone forever. I'm just focusing my time on F1 whilst it's brand new. It's going to be a lot of work, but I'm very excited. I'll see you very, very soon, hopefully. Until then, ta-ra.